Hi, as a part of pharmaceutical product development, here we are going to discuss on product identification for formulation development. Product identification is one of the very key factor for selecting for the formulation development. So that is one of the key area we have to spend a good amount of time to select a right product at the right time to execute further processing. Let us take it forward. What all the factors are involved for product identification for the formulation development? Yeah. So before I go in detail, just wanted to tabulate certain basic elements which we have already studied during our degrees whenever we have done it, like postgraduates, and even some people have done it undergraduates also. Just to capture so what all we have come across during our pharmaceutics or kind of a pharmaceutical product development and everything it is. Any substances resulting from preparing or preserving or compounding medicinal drugs, vitamins, or other materials used to enhance personal health. There are various types of products. Here we have just put certain very regularly being used throughout global. There are multiple routes are available, but right now for our understanding we have put a simple formulations which is oral, parenteral, topical and other formulations. In oral we know the like tablets, capsules and oral solutions, and in terms of the parenterals we have solution injections, lifeless injections, emulsions and suspensions. We'll go in detail into the next coming models for the each formulations, how or what are the factors are going to affect or what are the factors is to be controlled for these all formulations. Topical is one of the major formulations where recently even most of the industries have initiated, though we do not have an advanced technology in India to take it forward for the global standards. But however, still the most of the Indian pharmaceutical industries are working on topical formulations, which we need to put a lot of efforts and the technology to take it forward to meet the global standards. Apart from the like other formulations like suppositories and implants and etc., which still we are in a very I would say it's a kind of a middle level of the development in consideration for the global standards. Yeah, there are various stages involved for the formulation development, particularly for the drug product. Here we are listed out. There are a few very important factors, which is identification of the product, where we have to understand the markets and the business case and the feasibility with our facility. And apart from that, a pre-formulation, formulation development, technology transfer, and finally, we end with the commercial batches. We will be discussing each factors in detail our next modules to explain what are the important factors or what are the important or a risk are going to be involved in these elements. For example, a pre-formulation study involves, there are multiple basic studies, which is a solubility, saturated solubility, a kind of a forced degradation study, etc. Formulation development, it involves to select the right formulation, whether it is a tablets, capsules, or injectables, or it is dermatological products, or it is a suppositories. So each formulation has their merits and demerits, and each formulation has their own risk, and each formulation has a lot of stability issues, and each formulation has lot of challenges while entering into the market for the commercial. We will talk about in detail as we move on for these modules. Move on to the next slide. The stages of product development. What are the stages are involved for the product development? These all we just highlighted while we go on a product development in any of the industries. When you get the product, when the product is identified, then these are all the flow what normally like we need to follow till we get into the commercial. First, you should have a clear knowledge on the product. You have to go through the lot of literatures which would give lot of informations on the scientific part, and the various informations on the stability part, and various informations on the reference product which is available in the market. So that's a more valuable information for us when you take the product development for any kind of market. The next is that the API. API is nothing but active pharmaceutical ingredient, and RLD is nothing but a reference listed drug, and excipients procurements. So these are the one of the key parameter which involves a lot of logistics and a lot of supply chain issues. And this would not need a lot of scientific skills, but however, you guys should know this. What is the importance for each elements? Once you have availed these all components, we will be having a pre-formulation study, as we indicated what all the studies are going to be involved. Then your analytical method development gets started, where you will be developing a suitable method for your drug content and for your related substances, or for your preservatives, or for any kind of enantiomers, or any kind of residual solvents. These all components have to be studied, and the method has to be developed. If at all there is a particle size, the method has to be developed. Once these methods are in place, then you are entering into the formulation development, where you are going to develop a tablets, capsules, a tablets, different kind of applications or different kind of way, different methods, kind of a dry granulation, wet granulation, top granulation, micro granulation, if it is a parenteral, if it is a liquid injections, or if it is a lyophilization process, if it is a liposomal injections, if it is a microsomal injections. There are various formulations. There are various dosage forms. So these all we have to identify, and it has to be taken forward for the formulation. Once you make certain prototypes, then those prototypes will get into stability studies, where you are going to study the robustness of the formulations at various temperature conditions. For example, we call it a long-term conditions, intermediate conditions, and accelerated storage conditions. This again depends on the product storage, how this product storage. If the product is stored at 25 degrees Celsius, then you may have to choose 25 will be your long-term conditions, and 40-75 is your accelerated condition. And 3065 is something which ICH defines as an intermediate conditions which can be studied up to 12-month period. If at all your product does not comply to 4075, you may go with intermediate storage conditions for the application. Once you have a stable product, you can take the product into a manufacturing site where you will be performing a process validation study. So from the lab scales to pilot scale, you will be performing the process validation. Post process validations, you can approach to any agent which you are targeting. If it is US, you can go for an US FDA. If it is EU, you can apply to an EU agency, or if it is Brazil, you can approach to Anvisa, or if it is in Australia, you can approach to TGA. So there are various agencies are available. You can directly connect with them and approach for your application with all necessary data which they have defined in their respective site. Once you apply and once you register your product, the respective agency will take a certain amount of time which is defined. Within the stipulated time, the agency may come back with the queries, or your products meets all their requirements. They may give an approval as per the predefined timeline. Once you get an approval, then you can get into the commercial of your product. This is an overall chain involves for any of the product development, whether it is an injectable or it is a formulation or it's a tablets or it is sterile products. Move on to product identification. What is product identification? Product identification involves various factors which we have listed out. One is market research, technical feasibility, strategy on product development, regulatory understanding, intellectual property understanding, licensing requirement. We will discuss in detail on each topic in the coming slides. Market research, something will help you to understand a business case for the product. A technical feasibility will give you an understanding on the dosage form, strength, and therapeutic usage, and certain challenges on the formulations. Post to that, a team will prepare a strategy on the product development. The strategy shall be used during the course of development or during the commercial product as and when we find any kind of risk. And followed by a regulatory teams will give you a study requirement for each dosage. For example, for tablets, if you are performing with the top spray granulations, what kind of studies are needed? Basically, how this rate of spray and how this drying time and what kind of a blower speed. These are all the factors to be designed by the formulation scientist, and those data to be studied in a design of experimentation mode, and that need to be justified with a proper design space. Similarly, the intellectual property understanding also, where we have to study the patents and exclusivity of the product, which normally you can refer it to Orange Book for an US country and there are various agencies are giving a certain support on for the IP, which is nothing but intellectual property. And then a licensing requirement. Any formulations formulated at your facility, testing at your facility, or manufacturing at your facility, or if you are performing a kind of clinical study, needs and licensing for each activities. So that should aware with the pharmaceutical industries and should have a respective licenses in place prior to start of the activities. Move on to the next slide. Let's discuss about the market research. The market research, there are various factors. The very important factors are tabulated here, which is technical challenges, study on product demand, target country, dosage form or strength, and the reference product details. When we do the market research, the team should aware what kind of technical challenges are we going to face it when we take it up for the development or the tech transfer or the commercial, and what kind of studies are needed for the products. For example, if you select a tablets, what kind of granulations we have to do that, whether it is a wet granulation, it's a dry granulation, or it is a kind of a top spray granulation. Then you have to select a reference product. Which product you are targeting? What's your target? What kind of a target product profile to be generated from the reference product? And followed by the dosage form and strength. What the reference product says that, what is the dosage form and what is the strength of that. So these are the very, very important factors which has to be studied as a part of market research, including the targeted country. Whether you're targeting for United States or you are targeting for European region or you are targeting for the globals. So that's a part of market research. There are various factors involved. Apart from that, there's a business case to be defined, and what would be the volume to be taken into the market. Volume means it's a number of units to be considered for the commercials. Move on to the next slide. Technical feasibility. The technical feasibility, identify the technology used in the dosage form. As we explained, if the formulations have done with the top spray granulation, that to be defined. And if it is an injectable product, you should know that whether it has been done with a suspension or solution or the emulsion. These are the formulations you have to be considered when you start the activities, and then followed by the test methods. What kind of test methods to be done for drug substances and as well as drug products, followed by what kind of information or what kind of technology is needed by the manufacturer. So the manufacturer should capable to take up the product into your facility after you complete your developmental activities. So as a developmental scientist should know that what are the major factors to be considered, how I can correlate to my manufacturing unit. That would be the very important case as a formulator. Once you have all this information, you can document it and you can refer it as and when it is needed. Move on to regulatory and IP assessment. Understanding of regulatory market requirements in terms of documents, data, and statistical assessment. As we explained before, there are various regulatory agencies are available. For example, US refers as US FDA, and EU, there is an EU agencies which EMEA, which is a centralized filing system across European region, and Brazil as well as Japan. The Brazil it is ANVISA, and for the Japan it is JPA. Similarly, there are other countries also have their own agencies where they can give you certain guidances and procedures for any kind of pharmaceutical product registration. Once you have this, you should have a thorough evaluations on your intellectual information for the drug substance and as well as the drug products. These informations you can get it through an official website called Orange Book. The Orange Book gives you a lot of information on the patents and exclusivity for the drug substance and as well as the drug product. Apart from this Orange Book, there are multiple public domains are giving information on the patents and an exclusivity of the particular product. You can refer to that and understand that what kind of a drug substance I need to formulate and what kind of a drug product I need to formulate. With all the basic understanding, you can start the product development. And the literature search together gives more knowledge on the drug product stability also. So that either you can access it through the regulatory department or as a formulation scientist, you can get the informations from the respective regulatory agencies, or you can avail through a lot of literatures. Scientific articles will give you a lot of information about each product stabilities on the various dosage forms. So these all the informations are very essential when we think on a product for the pharmaceutical product development. Move on to the next slide, the literature search. We are just giving you certain commonly used websites for drug search and as well as the patents and other informations. In case of the drug product, there is a site called FDA site, which is FOI, which is SBOA, which is a summary based documents are available where you can get a lot of informations on the chemistry, medicinal, microbiological, pharmacological, and as well as other departments as well. You will have a lot of understanding while going through those documents, and that will help you while developing or facing any kind of challenge on your product development. And the next is patent evaluations. And as we say, like the Orange Book is one of the major website where you can see the products available with the therapeutic equivalent. The above official sites gives you a composition, a maximum daily dose, and what kind of a formula, and as well as what is the reference listed drug status as well. And there are PubMed and of course the Google and USP, European Pharmacopoeia, British Pharmacopoeia, and an Indian Pharmacopoeia. Apart from that, you can also get articles from Science Direct or any other various domains for the literatures or for the scientific articles. Remember, you should get as much as possible the literature information regarding on your drug product, which can give you about the dissolution, synthesis process, drug impurities, pharmacokinetics and dynamics, all the stuffs. Move on to the licensing requirements for the drug product manufacturing. Licensing requirements, there are multiple licenses are required when you initiate a pharmaceutical product development, particularly to test, to import, to manufacture. Every stage you need a different kind of licenses which commonly provides by our Indian drug controller authorities, which is called CDSCO. They give all these kind of licenses to test and develop a pharmaceutical product, which is called as a test license. To import any kind of a reference product or a drug substances, you need an import license. To manufacture a product at the commercial or clinical or any kind of products which intend to use for the human consumptions, you need a manufacturing license. These all the licenses are required to initiate our activities in the various stages. You should have licenses in place before you initiate any activities which is needed as per the requirement. If you are initiating the formulation development or if you are testing certain components, you should have a test license in place. And if you are importing the components, you should have import license in place. So this is a very, very basic phenomena should be followed in industry when we start a product development. With this particular model, we can close it right now. The remaining detailed explanations we can discuss in following models. Thank you all. Good luck.